Thank you for subscribing to our channel. Today is Saturday, February 20th, 2021. BBC report. Bird flu. Russia detects first case of H5N8 bird flu in humans. Officials said 7 workers at a poultry plant in the south of the country had been infected following an outbreak there in December. All 7 people are now feeling well, said the head of Russia's consumer health watchdog, Anna Popova. She said that adequate measures had been quickly taken to stop the spread of infection. There was no sign of transmission between humans, Ms. Popova said, adding that the case had been reported to the World Health Organization.
BBC report. Friedrich Karl Berger, U.S. deports ex-concentration camp guard to Germany. Friedrich Karl Berger, who has lived in the U.S. since 1959, was flown out of the country on Saturday and has landed in Frankfurt. Mr. Berger has admitted working as a guard at the Neuengamme concentration camp but said he did not witness any killings or abuse of prisoners. German prosecutors have dropped their case against him for lack of evidence. Police are due to question him and it is not clear if he faces further action. His case could be revived depending on what he says.
Deutsche Welle report. Texas freeze. Joe Biden declares major disaster. U.S. President Joe Biden declared a major disaster for the state of Texas, the White House announced on Saturday, as Texans continued to suffer from widespread power blackouts and water shortages. Strong winter storms also hit Oklahoma and neighboring states over the past week, prompting an unusual deep freeze that has left at least 69 people dead across the country. In Texas alone, at least 20 deaths have been blamed on the storm, while half of the state's residents on Friday suffered disrupted water services.
CNN report. Alexei Navalny remains in jail after Moscow appeals court confirms prison sentence. Kremlin critic Alexei Navalny will remain behind bars after a Russian court partially rejected his appeal over a 2.5-year prison sentence handed down earlier this month. The court did shorten the activist's sentence by a month and a half, after taking into account time he spent under house arrest from December 2014 to February 2015. Navalny appealed the sentence at Moscow City Court on Saturday.
CNN report. Missing Princess Latifa being cared for at home, Dubai royal family says. Dubai's royal family says Princess Latifa is being cared for at home, dismissing videos in which she accused them of holding her hostage since she attempted to flee abroad in 2018. In response to media reports regarding Sheikha Latifa, we want to thank those who have expressed concern for her well-being, despite the coverage which certainly is not reflective of the actual position, the statement by her family said, according to the United Arab Emirates (UAE) embassy in London.
Fox report. Famed charging bull sculptor Arturo di Modica dead at 80. Arturo di Modica, the sculptor of the famed charging bull statue in Wall Street, died in his home in Italy Friday. He was 80. Di Modica had been fighting cancer for many years but continued to work, most recently working on a gigantic bronze depicting a pair of fighting stallions called the Horses of Apari to be placed in his hometown of Vittoria in Sicily, Italian newspaper La Repubblica reported.
Deutsche Welle report. Germany, man detained over lethal mail bomb. A 66-year-old man has been arrested in connection with a series of parcel bombs sent to German food firms, authorities said on Saturday. The man from the city of Ulm in the southern German state of Baden-Württemberg was detained a day earlier, according to the public prosecutor's office in Heidelberg. 3 firms were sent parcel bombs over the past few days, including the Wild Factory in Eppelheim, the supermarket chain Lidl in Neckarsulm, and the baby food manufacturer HIP, based in the southern state of Bavaria.
Fox report. Arizona police arrest 37 suspected sexual predators tied to child sex crimes and human trafficking. The Phoenix Police Department, in partnership with other Arizona authorities, on Friday announced 37 arrests in connection to human trafficking and sex crimes. Undercover police placed ads on websites commonly sought out by suspects seeking illegal sex acts with children as part of an investigation dubbed Operation Broken Hearts. The probe targeted sexual predators engaged in child sex crimes and human trafficking, Phoenix police wrote in a Friday Facebook post.
CNN report. Why Joe Biden went to Wisconsin, and will be back. President Joe Biden took his first big trip as president this week when he went to Wisconsin for a CNN town hall. The fact that Biden chose to go to Wisconsin shouldn't be lost on anyone. he will likely be going to the state a lot as president. Arguably, no state tells us more about Biden's or any president's political standing in the last 30 years than Wisconsin. It's also likely to tell us whether his party does well in the 2022 midterms.
Deutsche Welle report. Alexei Navalny fined for defaming Russian veteran. Russian opposition figure Alexei Navalny was convicted for slander by a Moscow court Saturday, just hours after the same court upheld a prison sentence on separate parole violation charges. His supporters say both charges are part of a politically motivated plot from the Kremlin to silence opposition to Russian President Vladimir Putin. The court ordered Navalny pay a fine of 850,000 rubles €9,474, $11,481 in the defamation case.
Fox report. Blackwater founder Eric Prince accused of Libya weapons ban violations in UN report. Dubai, a United Nations report accuses Blackwater founder Eric Prince of assisting in violations of an international arms embargo on Libya, placing the military contractor at risk of UN sanctions, according to a diplomat with access to the report. The report by the UN panel of experts that monitors the ban on transfers of weapons to Libya says companies controlled by Mr. Prince provided 3 aircraft to assist in sending helicopters and military contractors to help Russian-backed Libyan warlord Khalifa Haftar in 2019.
Al Jazeera report. Biden to hold virtual meeting with Trudeau next week. United States President Joe Biden will hold a virtual meeting next week with Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, in what will be Biden's first official meeting with a foreign head of government since he took office last month. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said Biden would highlight the strong and deep partnership between the United States and Canada as neighbors, friends and NATO allies in the meeting on Tuesday.
CNN report. Florida GOP Gov. DeSantis proposes voting restriction bills for state lawmakers to pass this session. Florida Gov. Ron DeSantis unveiled a slate of voting proposals Friday that he wants lawmakers to pass in their upcoming legislative session, including restricting the mass mailing of mail-in ballots and access to ballot drop boxes. At a news conference Friday in West Palm Beach, DeSantis, a Republican, argued that the legislation proposals will increase residents' confidence in Florida elections, strengthen election security, and transparency in the election process.
Al Jazeera report. Rockets hit Iraq military airbase hosting U.S. contractors. At least 4 rockets struck an Iraqi airbase on Saturday night, the Iraqi military said in a statement, while other officials said 1 person was wounded at the base where a United States defense company services combat aircraft. The wounded individual worked for the U.S. company, the Associated Press news agency reported, citing 4 officials who spoke on condition of anonymity. No group immediately claimed the attack on Balad Air Base in Salah al-Din province.
Al Jazeera report. Alarm as Myanmar ships reach Malaysia to pick up detainees. The United Nations Refugee Agency said on Saturday at least 6 people registered with it were among 1,200 Myanmar nationals to be deported by Malaysia next week, while the United States voiced alarm that the plan could put deportees' lives at risk. The comments came as Myanmar naval ships arrived in Malaysian waters to pick up the detainees. Malaysia will deport the Myanmar citizens, including asylum seekers, after Myanmar's military, which seized power in a February 1 coup, offered to send Navy ships to pick them up, officials and refugee groups say.
Fox report. Pennsylvania cop arrested in connection to Capitol riot, allegedly charged line of officers. The FBI arrested a Pennsylvania police officer Friday for allegedly attending the riot at the nation's capital on Jan. 6 after a video surfaced on his Facebook of him purportedly mobbing and pushing against police officers attempting to secure the building. Officials said Joseph Fisher, a patrolman at North Cornwall Township Police Department, bragged on Facebook about breaching the Capitol building during a joint session of Congress to certify the election results for President Biden, in an event that left 5 people, including a Capitol police officer, dead.
BBC report. Myanmar coup. At least 2 killed as police disperse protesters. Police used live ammunition to disperse demonstrators in Mandalay, local media and medical staff reported. Hundreds had gathered for a rally at a shipyard in Myanmar's second-largest city. Several were injured, reportedly by live fire and rubber bullets. Myanmar has seen weeks of protests following the coup which overthrew Aung San Suu Kyi's elected government. Protesters are demanding that she be released, along with other members of her National League for Democracy (NLD) party.
Thank you for watching 5 p.m. recap. To be notified, you can subscribe our channel and activate the bell.